After genocide, things went wrong in this park.
The people came from exile and they started settling themselves into the park. So they created a big conflict between them and the wildlife. So the government was pushed to downsize the park to separate humans and wildlife.
It was crisis management by then. Poaching was very high.
The park was full of poachers with firearms.
Immediately after genocide, the government was busy with other things like survivors from genocide. Nobody could think about wildlife.
But then also the park wasn't fenced, and people along, communities along, grazed in day and night. That was very, very challenging.
Those people used to go to the carcass of cows, they put the chemicals, serious poisons, and then later evening, lions come back to eat the carcass, and then you find the next day, 7 lions died along the carcass of cow. That's how they managed to finish 300 lions.
But during the disorder of war, our rhinos were poached, and we had extinction of rhino.
Unfortunately, the horn is hugely under demand by the illegal trade, and more specifically for the East African black rhinos. There's only 900 of them left in the world. After the genocide, the returnees came with over 30,000 cattle, and that created human-wildlife conflict. The lions killed the cattle, and the herdsmen had to look after their interest and unfortunately poisoned the lions up to their extinction. The last ones were killed in 2002. After African Parks joined with the Rwandan government in 2010, our main prerogative was to secure Akagera, law enforcement. We have a marine team, we have a team on the helicopter, we have a canine team, and then we have a lot of guys on the ground.
We are using that ability of dog's nose because they can sniff a scent or a human scent from far away, or any activity or any dangers around us. Dog is easy to alert on us. They cannot only track or do patrol, but even they can apprehend in case we engage in a poachers who normally come to kill animals. If that action really comes into hostile, we can still use our dogs to take them down. We can apprehend them. The fundamental key of a dog to perform well on a field is when the handler is well trained and the bond is completely like 100%. Always a dog comes in between a bad man and a handler, whereby if you have a gun, you have either choose to shoot a dog or shoot me, and if you hesitate, a dog is on you. I can see 100% I feel more safe with the dog than walking with the gun, because a dog is like a human, it's a living animal, and it can sense far apart from poachers, the wild animals. You can see a dog standing in between you, whereby if I have a gun, maybe it might be get tense. Yeah, we feel like we are all a unit completely. Yeah.
Most of the times, as you see, we're always on field, monitoring the animals, stopping the illegal activities in the park. There was an introduction of rhinos, and after last year, 2017, they introduced rhinos. We make sure we, at least every week, we know the update, where they have some problems, which kind of problems do they have.
If rhino is not sick, if no snares, the most dangerous for rhinos in Akagera is snaring. But sometimes you can get dog users spearing and snaring. Snare can catches a rhino as it can catch a buffalo. And once a rhino is caught by a snare, yeah, it can die.
The poachers are most likely to poach at night to reduce their detection at daytimes. So when they change, we change. One team is doing day patrol, and another team is doing night patrol, OPs, setting OPs at higher ground at night, see if they can get maybe torches at night.
As a ranger, my responsibility is to know what's going on with the lion, how they feel, which conditions are every day. We use the telemetry to show the direction of the lion. Every lion have the color, except this one, which is a young one. But the old one has the color and frequency, show the direction where they are, and follow the direction according to the telemetry. Because the lion is the dangerous animal, an aggressive animal, but in another side, it's a good animal to control them according to the condition where there is. The most thing is the first is to face. Don't give up the eyes on the lion. First is face to face, because the lion can read your senses as smelling you, to check if you are fear, it can attack you.
Yeah, when you're tracking a dangerous game, you need to be careful. When we are tracking rhinos, we use VHF to track them, but there are some who doesn't have, so we need to track on spoor. So when you are tracking a spoor, you need to be careful. You see the spoor, but you don't see where the rhino is. So when you are moving, you move like 50 meters, you check the wind. 50 meters, you check the wind with ash. So you need to go with ash bag. If you are getting closer, see fresh tracks, you start dodging the wind. Dodging the wind, come back in the spoor. Dodging the wind, come back in the spoor until you get the rhino. You move from cover to cover so that if you get charged, you move to cover. The rhino has no good sight. So if a rhino turns and looks to you, you just stop, stay calm, and look for the cover and wait. When it charges, you move to cover. Yeah, it happens. They charge. Sometimes they charge, but yeah, it's our job. It's good when you're tracking and you have spoors. You enjoy it.
We have, I think, 1,000 square kilometer area. It's Akagera. In that 1,000 square kilometer area, we have mountain, we have savanna, we have the lake, we have the swamp, and on top of that, if we put the reintroduction of the lion and the rhino, we have the big five. So it's all we need just to grow up.
Now we are like almost 3 years after the return of the rhinos. And then if you compare our statistic, we see that the number of the guests has been totally increased.
The park was generating about $200,000 US. Today, They are about 1.5 million US dollars. That is amazing.
Prior to having lions and rhinos, we did have a lot of other wildlife, and that's obviously interesting and exciting for people to see, but there is something special about those two particular species. You know, we did see a boost in tourism numbers, particularly after the lions, particularly in domestic tourism, a lot of local visitors.
We are receiving many tourists because they have in mind that once they come here in the park, they might see like lioness, they might see a lion. Like 100% of the incomes, like in the accommodation, goes straight away for the conservation, the park development. Even if they didn't see the lioness or the lions, they can see tracks, and those one they can tell them that we have the lioness.
If people that stay at Ruzizi Tented Lodge, for example, 100% of the profits from their stay go directly into managing the entire park. Back in 2010, when we were first in Akagera, we had about 15,000 visitors that year. Last year we ended with 36,000 visitors. There's still 50% of our visitors are nationals, which I think is something to be proud of, and I think it's because they're very proud of Akagera.
So community guides, they are guys that come from the nearest village. So we are there to reduce the conflict that used to happen between the local communities and the wildlife.
The conservation will work with tourism, with community, the two things that you can't leave out. So the tourism is coming up, and then local people are being involved.
We stop going to the park to kill those impalas, not because they are free, but because we have money. We have enough money to live. If there's someone who is a poacher, so he will stop doing that because he knows that I have a job there. Otherwise, I will be unemployed and I will stay home and I will annoy them. The time I saw a rhino, I felt like this is something special. Yeah, so this needs our protection. I will do whatever it will take to protect these creatures. I feel like it's my place. That's where I wish to spend all my life.
Mu by'ukuri twarikanze mu mutima wacu kuko mbere twazisanze muri iri shyamba zitwicira amatungo yacu, zica inka cyane tukarara ku ijoro. Intare kandi nubwo twararaga ku ijoro ntibyabuzaga inka gupfa, ukumvira zirazikanze zikazirukankana zikazica umugenda. Hanyuma y'intare zimaze gushiraho twagize umutekano, twumva turaruhutse, twumva biratunejeje kuko intare zigiye zaturaza ku ijoro zatwiciraga amatungo.
Kubera ko nk'intare mbere zitarashira muri iri shyamba urumva wenda nko mu cyumweru yicaga nk'intare eshatu. Biguteje igihombo kinini cyane. Urabona yishe nk'inka y'ibihumbi 300 cyangwa 400 n'uko ari igihombo kinini. None kimwe nuko ushobora kwita n'inka yonsa ukabuhombya nka yayigapfa n'amata ukabura yahombye. N'uko ari igihombo kinini. Urabona nta mboro twari dufite, urumva twari abantu baborozi. Gusa kintu twakoreshaga ni nk'induru, niba nk'ifatiye hafi nkaha mugatera y'ibiti niyo yayiva hejuru ikava hejuru yayishe.
Tumaze kumva rero ko intare zigiye kugaruka, of course birumvikana twagize ikibazo ko tugiye kongera kumara amatungo.
We could not bring the animals until we have the assurance that the animals will be not going outside to disturb the people.
The government decided to fence the western part of the park, like 120 kilometers long, on the side of the community.
Intare zaraje ndetse nanjye rumwe mu bagiye kuzisura zimaze kuhagera, ariko rero nyuma y'ubwo zagiye kuza hari uruzitiro.
We had the electric fence to keep lions in. We felt it was safe to bring the lions.
Rero byaratunejeje cyane kuko zaraje ntacyo zidutwaye, ahubwo zirimo ziratwungura mu iterambere ryacu, biradufashije.
We cannot effectively manage or conserve Akagera without the input of the communities. The communities need to buy into the idea that the park is important for them also. Otherwise, they will poach and kill the wildlife, and yet the wildlife is what attracts the tourists. So it's important to involve the community, to explain to them so that they feel it's their job to conserve something that they feel will also provide an ending source of opportunities for them. We call it the Tourism Revenue Sharing Scheme. Money from the tourists who come, a percent of that goes to funding projects by community members that we think are viable, that we think can improve their livelihoods.
Mbere yuko umushinga utangira, abaturage kugira ngo babone amafi bayibonaga muri pariki y'Akagera bagiye kuyibayo, ariko kugeza ubu ngubu turashaka ko amafi bayafatira hano hafi kandi ku giciro gitoya.
Yakuyemo biriya byatsi ibyera byatsi ni hanini cyane, byakuyemo nabwo ntiyabimaramo, barongera badushakira indi nkunga yo mu banyamerika izagirira abanyamuryango bayo n'abaturage bahaturiye, yewe ni muri rusange nta munyarwanda wese utazabibonaho.
Umushinga ufite inyungu abaturage cyane kubera yuko ubu turi gukoresha abakozi bari hagati ya 40 na 50 kandi twatoranyijemo abakene kurusha abantu.
Wacuruza ibyo ukajya guca igitoki cyo guwa ukajya kukigurisha, ni kimwe n'uwakiranguye se wacuruzamo waranguye.
Last year, for example, in 2017, we shared with the local sectors 214 million Rwandan francs in 1 year. Some of the results include classrooms, especially in areas that are very remote, like in villages deep, very close to the park, where there is kids would have struggled to find a nearby school to go to. So we have health posts. Water projects have also been done, but also cooperatives, beekeeping cooperatives, butcheries, people who used to be poachers. The more tourists we get, the more revenue, then the bigger share in the revenue sharing scheme, the bigger the pot becomes for the communities. Since the introduction of lions, the numbers just keep going up. When you go to the community, you talk to them, there is that pride, you can feel it, you can see it or hear it from the people. It's very important for the children to come to the park. The best performing kids are the ones who get to be selected to come to Akagera. Every school brings in 60 children. When they come, they are really excited. Now they want to see the rhino because the rhino is here. The rhino is spread like the news, and it's generated a lot of excitement in the local community. Before that it was the lions, but now it's the rhinos. Normally it should be exhausting, but I assure you, even at the end of their day, they're just happy and they're telling stories, and I'm sure they tell these stories many days and months afterwards.
We started with a small founder population of 7 lions, 2 males and 5 females. The impact of them is not going to be great at the beginning, but 2.5 years on we're looking at 27 lions. The initial stages, the prey base was pretty naive, so it was very easy for the lions to capture their prey, and we actually saw that in the fact that all the females fragmented and didn't have to stay as a pride. They could hunt by themselves, primarily warthog, impala and the smaller game. That by default obviously is going to have an effect over the years. The prey base is going to become more vigilant. They're going to be more aware. The group sizes will become bigger. Less lone buffalo bulls, whereas before there was a lot of lone buffalo bulls just living out their lives. They'll be together in groups. We see a movement of the herd, the plains games, moving onto open plains at night. to be safety in numbers, but also in an area where basically there's more visual sightings, early mornings, late afternoons, so they can actually see around them. Whereas if they were in the bush, it's much easier for the lions to stalk. But the lion's return will have a huge positive impact on the other predators, smaller predators, and other species like vultures. We've seen a lot of hyenas, more visual sightings of hyenas because there's a bit of competition. The hyenas are challenging the lions. But then we've got to look at the other prey base, like the other predators like jackals. And then we also look at vultures. We've seen more vultures now because there's more carcasses. There's a lot of food for the lions. Unfortunately, they are a cat, so they sometimes do kill and not necessarily finish everything. But that leaves enough for the jackals, for the vultures, and we hope that growth in lion numbers, the more killing and more preying on the mammals, will increase the vulture numbers as well as the smaller predators.
I see my future in Akagera. To see it progressing will be my dreams. Yeah, the morning sunrise, the evening sunsets, the beautiful animals, beautiful views everywhere in the park. For me, that will be my success.
I love my country, I love my park, and I love conservation in general. I am proud when I am in Akagera.
The thing that makes me very proud is when I see I'm successful. I need even other national parks to take an example of Akagera and form this K9 unit in each and every national parks.
My hope and my dream is that on one side a thriving habitat for wildlife and a thriving community economy that is based on this ecosystem.
We should conserve for the people. We should not just conserve for the sake of having a diversified park like Akagera, but we should conserve Akagera and the rest of the parks for the locals. The people of Rwanda are the center. They should be the center of why we conserve our national parks.
There's a hope, even more than being a hope that this is a successful story.
We all see the growth of tourism, local tourism first. That's the best things we have. Yeah, my hope as a Rwanda is to put Akagera on top of conservation in that region. That's my hope, and I think we'll do it.
My hope for the future of Akagera is that it becomes a model for sustainable tourism development in East Africa.
I didn't believe that there are still beautiful places like this, like at the park. You just feel you lose yourself, you lose your words. Sometimes when I see it, I don't explain it.